Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Today, I am bringing you something that I stumbled upon accidentally in a journey to another video, which happens a lot. Most of my videos are just things I found while looking for things for other videos. And that is a Twitter account where all I really need to say about them is that their profile picture is Elon Musk. I feel like that's kind of everything you need to know before going into it. And their name is The Art of Purpose. So you put those two things together and you pretty much get the overall gist. You kind of know exactly the type of person. So you know that we're in for a bit of a bumpy ride. So buckle up, everybody. Quickly, before we get into it, I would like to take a moment to thank today's patron of the day, Kai Alexis. I appreciate you hugely. Thank you so much for all of your support. It means the world. And if you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. If you want to hear more about it, then stick around till the end. All right, let's get into the video. This account, this person has the most contradicting takes I've ever seen. And that is saying something because conservatives are like the most hypocritical, self-contradicting type people you ever encounter. And this one kind of takes the cake, like completely. Nothing really makes a ton of sense. Nothing really flows. I don't know where they stand. I don't know if they know where they stand, other than they are a privileged cis het white man. They've never posted a photo of their face, but it is very, very safe to assume so based on everything that they say. And they come from that position, and you can tell. Your ancestors didn't suffer unimaginable hardships just for you to get offended by mean words on the internet. And they're showing like cavemen beating up a mammoth and like hanging statues and fighting wars and revolutions and shit. And bro, did you know that people back in the day would kill people over literally the smallest shit? If you just looked at someone funny, dead. Like, no, they weren't like offended by mean words said on the internet, but that's because there was no internet. If you just looked at someone wrong, if you just like insulted someone even a little bit, dead. Like, that was a thing that you risked at a point in time, especially a person in power. And even like now, that obviously still happens. If you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, they're gonna be offended to the point where they literally kill you. That's always been a thing. So I don't know your point here in bringing up ancestors and the hardships they go through and all the wars that they fought. Do you know how many of those wars were fought over the stupidest little shit? So many wars were fought over fucking nothing other than men in power were bored and wanted to use people in their game because some dude over there said something that he didn't like. It literally all happened just because people were saying shit that each other didn't like. So like, no, they weren't offended by things people said on the internet, but they were very offended by things people said in real life. So your point, there is none. But like, good try, I suppose. But like, you kind of missed the mark on that one, I think. Go to school, find a safe 9-to-5 job, pay off debt, climb the ladder, vacation for 2 weeks a year, pay off mortgage, die. You were made for more than this. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. You are 1,000% correct there, my guy. We are on the same page. I absolutely agree with you, and I'm sure you will find that literally every single person on the left agrees with you. I'm sure you will find that all these people that you hate and disagree with who are anti-capitalism agree with this sentiment entirely. And this is literally all that we have been saying this entire time, is that we aren't built for this. We aren't made for this. We are made for more than this. And this is just like bullshit that we have to keep doing this and like turning the cogs of society because we have to in order to stay alive and in order to have food and shelter and water, etc., etc. It's bullshit. I agree. But you are a capitalist who worships Elon fucking Musk, who enforces this very heavily on tens of thousands of people. I don't know how many people work under his reign, but he is a multi-billionaire who employs so many people and upholds these rules and regulations and pays very little in order to keep people in these positions. And you worship him when you are seemingly apparently very much against the thing that made him a billionaire in the first place. You can't be against it if you worship it. You know, you can't be like, this is bad, we were made for more than this. But there is an alternate path you are choosing to do. No one's fucking choosing that. No one wants that. People are forced into it, right? If you think this is bad and you want to break the cycle and you think humans are made for more than this, take it up with Elon Musk, right? He could probably make a difference. If he changed his workforce and he changed the way he operated and everything there changed, I'm sure people would follow. So take it up with him, all right? He's not a very good hero if you completely disagree with the thing that made him who he is. Jobs people look down on: truck driver, farmer, oil worker. Jobs people look up to: athlete, influencer, model. Jobs that keep society running: truck driver, farmer, oil worker. Dude, did you not just say that working like low wage, monotonous jobs is not what humans are built for? Like half these people fucking would hate their jobs. Half of the people have to fucking do it. You're saying like humans are built for more than this. They should enjoy their life. But you think that being an artist and an entertainer is something that people shouldn't want to do? You're confused by why people look up to entertainers. But like, obviously people are going to be looking up to these influencers and models and people in creative industries because it's more fun, it's more enjoyable. And they pay, when you're successful, very, very well. And they're much more fulfilling than a lot of the other empty jobs that exist, you know? And implying that we don't need like art and the entertainment industry is so fucking stupid. Art powers the world. If we didn't have art, we wouldn't have buildings, we wouldn't have clothes, we wouldn't have music, we wouldn't have anything. Life would be so bleak if we didn't have those things. The world would not go round without art. I'm sorry, but it is just as important. Anyway, creative industries are vital, and it makes sense that people want to be a part of them. How to make good art. The bad art is like modern art, you know, how people always criticize modern art, but it's very specific types of modern art that he chose that like don't make sense to him and that he doesn't think is art because, you know, art is apparently objective, not subjective, but that's fine. And then the like good art is like Van Gogh, Mona Lisa, pyramids, old like statues and old architecture and paintings, etc. You're going back on yourself here because I feel like a moment ago you were kind of implying that you shouldn't aspire to be an artist. You were kind of implying that art is bad and we shouldn't look up to it and we shouldn't aspire to be artists and that art doesn't help the world go round. It's kind of unimportant, you know? But here, you're showcasing that architecture is art and we kind of need architecture, you know? That's kind of important. And a lot of really important things throughout human history are art. So art, I'm glad you're acknowledging, is good. And it does make the world a better place and it does help the world go around. So I feel like you've gone back on yourself a little bit here. And also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but all of these things can and do coexist. Saying that like this old style of art no longer exists and is no longer created is incorrect. And also implying that a different type of art wasn't created at that time is also incorrect. You know? Like, what we see in museums isn't all of the art that existed in the world, and it's not all of the art that currently is created and exists in the world. There are different types of museums for different things. Different people make different things. Different people have different opinions and different ideas of what art is and what they connect to, etc. It is subjective. All different art forms can exist at once, okay? If you died today, your boss would replace you in less than a week. Your family would miss you forever. Prioritize accordingly. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. Sure, your boss would replace you in a week. Your family would miss you forever. Prioritize your family over work. Dude, do you not realize that people would love to be able to do that? People would fucking love to be able to do that. That is literally what we've been saying. That's the entire conversation that's happening on the left, is that we would like to be able to enjoy our lives. We would like to be able to spend time with family without having to like sacrifice, I don't know, food and shelter. Because unfortunately, prioritizing your family is prioritizing work, because without work, you die. So, like, I don't know what you fucking want here, bro. I don't know what point you're trying to prove, other than you seem to be agreeing with the outcome that the left wants, but you're trying to come at it from a capitalist view, which is just completely impractical. That carries on quite nicely into the next one of, once upon a time, a family could own a home, a car, and send their kids to college, all on one income. Like, yeah, I know. I wish that we were still able to do that. We all wish we were still able to do that. It would be so nice to be able to live where you only had to rely on one person's income. That is just completely impractical at the moment because of how expensive the cost of living is. Do you know how much it costs to just live? You're expected to spend on average over like 70% of your income just on like rent, food, water, electricity, etc. Just on staying alive for one person. And I agree, that is fucked up. No one wants that. No one is for that, except capitalists like Elon fucking Musk, who is your hero, because it means that they can continue to sit on a pile of money and exploit people, because what else can they do? You know? What else can they do? You can't quit your job, because then you can't live. So you have to stay working for them. You have to stay producing their products and doing what they say. They continue to be in control of you because you can't do anything else. You don't have time to live a life that you enjoy. You don't have time to fight against this power that you live under, because you are constantly being worked to death just to be able to stay alive. Living costs go up. Opportunities go down. Morale goes down. People are fucking exhausted and tired and depressed because it feels really, really hopeless a lot of the time, because it is so impossible to break out of this cycle. If you really want to get back into a society where it is sustainable to be able to live comfortably and still enjoy free time and hobbies and all of that, if you want to get back to a society that does that, you need to start by looking the problem in the face and taxing the rich, putting more money into public welfare, creating more opportunities, giving people more time off and more time to themselves, and allowing people to have the basic necessities accessible to them, to everyone, and then just work for more on top of that, you know? Like, at the very least, working should be to afford, like, luxuries. Everyone should be able to have the bare minimum, and the rest can come from whatever the fuck. I don't know, you know? Like, in an ideal society, we can all do what we want, right? That would be ideal. That is impractical, at least coming from where we are right now. So the first step is just changing to make living affordable, because we're at the fucking breaking point now. Can't do it anymore. He talks about this as though it's an accessible thing for everyone, but you know that he is very, very well aware of the fact that it's not. You can tell, as I said, that he is a cis-het, privileged, rich white man who thinks that everyone just needs to work a little bit harder and they can be just like him, but you know he doesn't believe that. He's one of those assholes that charges people to do like seminars of how to make money, how to create your own startup, and the how to make money is just scam people for their money. Seems to work really well for a lot of people, and people are desperate enough to pay it, which is devastatingly sad. But like, it's funny just because you look at all the illustrations he posts and they're always like white blonde, like upper middle class people, you know? It's like coming from a place of privilege, they only want a specific type of person in those positions. They want to keep it elitist. They want to keep this status of being better than everyone, and they want to be able to continue to look down on people. And so they talk like, you could have this too, but they don't want you to have it. They don't want you to have it. They don't want anyone to have it. They want to continue to be better than everyone. They want to sit there, they want to look down on you, and they want to make you feel small and stupid and like you just have to work harder. Because if you work harder, they get richer. The harder you work, the more money they get. And so of course they're going to sit here and say, just work harder and you can have it too. Just work harder and you can have it too. When they are the ones who are in control of giving that to you. Elon Musk could pay people more if he wanted. He could give people more time off if he wanted. He could do whatever the fuck he wanted. He doesn't want to because he wants to keep his place at the top. He wants to keep all that money. He wants to keep looking down on people. And the more he does that, and the more he tries to humanize himself and say, I'm a man, you could do this too, I was just like you, the more you're going to think you can, the more you're going to do, and the more money he gets while you stay in the exact same place. And that's the way that they like it. And so you gotta stop. Like, you know, this man is like charging people a ton of money in order to learn how to make money and be rich like him. He doesn't want you to be. He doesn't fucking care. It doesn't work because he's just selling you a bunch of bullshit so that he can steal your money and you can stay poor. Because that's what they want. Capitalism breeds greed. These people are capitalists. They want you to stay poor. They are lying straight to your face. They are not your friend. They are a mutual enemy. The person you marry is the biggest financial decision you make. The right person will lead to prosperity and the wrong person will lead to ruin. And the right person will lead to prosperity is written over like a big family. So like a white man, a white woman, obviously with their 5 blonde children. And then the wrong person will lead to ruin is the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, which I'm not going to speak on because I have a lot to say and it's quite a triggering sort of topic for me. But I will say that yes, Amber Heard was found guilty of defamation in the US. However, people seem to overlook this. Johnny Depp was found guilty of abuse in the UK. People like to avoid that part of the conversation. I'm not going to talk on it too much. I wasn't able to follow along or look into it too much because it was a very triggering thing for me, so I avoided it. That's all I'm going to say on it. We'll move on from that and just say, for someone who seems to value family so much, half of your posts are just all about like, prioritize your family, prioritize love. They're all going to miss you. Your job can wait. You can have money. Money is easy to get, but family is hard and family is important. For someone who says that, why are you prioritizing the financial part of a marriage over, I don't know, the love, the love part of a marriage? Like, the person you marry is the biggest financial decision of your life. That shouldn't be the first thing you fucking think of. Marriage shouldn't be a transaction. It should be about loving someone. That's what it should be. Do you know, firstly, how expensive it is to have a family with 5 kids, especially the one you're talking about where you have a stay-at-home parent on one income? Do you know that's a terrible financial decision? Having 5 kids and a big house on one income? Yeah, that's what will lead to ruin. For most people, that is very, very impractical. A very large majority of people can no longer sustain that life, as you have pointed out, and as you have said is a problem. That's not a good financial decision. A good financial decision is getting married and then not having any children. That's the best financial decision. And the using Johnny Depp and Amber Heard for like, it will lead to ruin, like financial ruin, that's such a terrible and weird example to use. You just wanted to take a dig at it for no fucking reason. Maybe it was topical at the time you posted this. I didn't save the date. But like, fuck off, maybe. Changing the topic a little bit, because I feel like I'm going to start repeating myself. A post about here, I keep playing with things. I'm going to look ridiculous watching this back, and I've got like a shoe for a plushie on my finger, and I've been playing with a hair tie. I'm just really fiddly today. And I can't use like a fidget toy or whatever because they're loud next to my microphone. So I just have been playing with things in front of me. Please ignore my hands moving a lot. Movies need more heroes like this. Bond, Stallone, Durden, Maverick, and less heroes like this. Joker, modern Spider-Man, Downey, and Skywalker. Okay, well, this makes no goddamn fucking sense at all. Because, one, the Joker as a hero? I have a lot of questions about how you came to that conclusion. Because he is like the main villain in DC. Is he not? He's like the biggest villain. Was this just you needing a DC hero and you couldn't use Batman or Superman because they're like buff? Or like why did you put the Joker here? Next in line, we have Downey. Last I checked, Robert Downey Jr. was not a hero. He's not a superhero, and he's not a fictional character. Did you use Downey in place of Iron Man and Tony Stark because you can't put Iron Man and Tony Stark there because you worship him? Because he is literally just Elon Musk. If Elon Musk was in Marvel, because he is. Listen. Okay, this is an unpopular opinion, but fuck Tony Stark. I'm sorry. I know that's controversial, but I have to say it, okay? Tony Stark and Elon Musk would be besties. They would be best friends. And that's just a fact. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck that he's fictional. I don't think he's funny, for starters. And he's just I just hate him. I hate him. Kat and I have briefly mentioned this. Kat and I have briefly mentioned our hatred of Tony Stark in a podcast, but we are going to be doing a full podcast deep diving into why we hate Tony Stark. If you are interested, go check out our podcast, Savvy Cat Productions, and there will be a podcast about Tony Stark coming soon if you want to know a full deep dive talking about him and join in on that conversation. But anyway, I understand why you didn't put Tony Stark there, because he's a big greedy capitalist who's selfish and has a fun weapon suit, so I get how you didn't put him there, all right? But putting Robert Downey Jr. there in his place makes no fucking sense. Do you want him to be played by someone else? Is that what you're saying? You don't think Tony Stark is like buff enough? Because in which case you should also be taking that up with your hero, who is Elon Musk, because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm aware, he is not a buff man. And also, modern Spider-Man. You have a problem with a modern Spider-Man. I need you to point me in the direction of a like hyper-masculine Spider-Man, because I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I talked about that for a little bit too long. We'll move into the final one now, which is what most people want. Money, women, power, what most people need. Family, Christ, strength. Well, the little flaw in your plan here, in order to have a family, or at least the traditional family that you keep promoting, you kind of need to have women and money. The only family that doesn't need a woman is a family of, like, queer men. So unless you're talking about queer men in a relationship and starting a family, then you kind of do need a woman. But either way, you still need money. That is still kind of important in order to like maintain that and have a family and stay alive and stuff. So the only way I can really read this is that you are out here looking for a man to bring into your family. So you're saying, you're putting it out there, you don't need money. I have money. You don't need women. You can have me instead. And you don't need power because I have power. Just come join my family. I already have the money. You can have me. I'm a powerful man. I already have a family too, so you can come join in. I believe he has children. He's like, you can be part of our family. You need a family, right? Right? And you need Christ. I'm sure he's got some Bibles at home, you know, and you need strength. And the way he's selling this point is that he has like, I don't know, a gym membership. He can bring you to the gym on his membership. So this is his selling point. On that note, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. I appreciate all of the engagement and such. It means a lot. Speaking of things that mean a lot, a massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. And a massive thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons, Wolf, Toulouse, Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Robbie, Ikazel, Kai, Jessica, Eldo, Ida, Quia Corey, Mick McKenna, Anna, Raven, Danielle, Elias, and Evie. I love and appreciate you all so, so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early as well as podcasts a week early. Speaking of podcasts, I highly recommend you go check out our podcast. It's a lot of fun. We just kind of sit down and talk about shit. But we appreciate it and I hope that you enjoy it as well. We film it in this like cute little queer cafe bookshop, which is really nice. It's just a nice chill vibe if you want to just come hang out for a bit. Yeah, anyway, and for £3 and up, you get things like outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, and a monthly live stream, which we'll be doing soon. We do on the first Saturday of every month. So if you are interested in any of that, then go to patreon.com/savvycat or the top link in the description. I appreciate it a lot. I've already said that. I've said it again because I truly do appreciate it. Yeah, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.